Today's pro bike is a very special Mondraker Foxy RRSL. This one belongs to Tom Wheeler. You might recognise his name from a feature we had recently here on GMBN Tech. Now this is a 27.5-inch wheel version. It's a size medium. It's the full stealth carbon build. And as you can see, it's got some very special bits and pieces going on. We're going to have a chat to Tom about that. But firstly, let's take a look at the frame. So as we know, at the middle of every proper bike is the frame set. This is where everything happens. So this is a size medium Mondraker Foxy RRSL. Now they make this in aluminium and they also make it in carbon, just like this one here. This is made from their stealth carbon, so it's super light, it's very stiff and is very resilient. The reach on this size medium is a 480, so that's about 30mm longer than most other bikes on the market. So it's a very aggressive handling bike and it's based around a 150mm travel rear end. It typically runs a 160 up on the front. Tom's bike is a bit different. He's running a massive 180mm travel Fox fork up on the front, which we're going to take a look at a little bit closer soon. Now back here he's got a Fox Float X2 shock. It's got the climb switch on here and it's got a Boost 148 system on the back end. Now up front on the business end of Tom's bike, as you can see, it's a very specific setup and we can talk to Tom about that in a minute, but it's based around a 750mm wide, 35mm rise and diameter race face turbine bar. It's a turbine stem as well in the 32mm length, so that's about as short as you can possibly get without a stem actually having an issue with the steerer tube there. Now the Fox 36 fork is spinning inside a Cane Creek Visco set, and again that's a very specific setup. We'll have a chat to Tom in a minute about that. So wheels are 27.5-inch and Tom is running DT Swiss 1501 rims on here. So these are 30mm internal width on these. Now braking comes down to 180mm rotors front and rear, but they're different brakes. He's running Shimano XTR on the rear and he's running Magura MT7 trail brake up on the front here. Tyres, as you expect, are pretty aggressive. So these are Wild Enduros by Michelin. Now these are extremely soft, but these are not the softest ones. Reason for that is these suit Tom's riding. Naturally they're set up tubeless, these ones are the 2.4 in size. So rear wheel wise, again it's another DT Swiss 1501. It's running the SRAM XD driver because it's got a SRAM transmission on here. That's 1050 with that 500% gear range. It's got a 34 tooth chainring up front, so that's optimized really for the suspension on these bikes. Although that is quite a lot bigger than a lot of people tend to run these days. I guess Tom put some miles in, so that works out nicely. Cranks are 170, and as you might have spotted, there's some slightly older Shimano M545 SPD pedals on there. So it's a real mixed match of stuff to work exactly with Tom's requirements and preferences. Now a few extras you might notice on the bike here. He's got a Backcountry Research tube strap down there with a multi-tool, all nice and low on that down tube. It's running a water bottle on the frame and it's also running a pump just under the top tube there. Now the pump itself is Bursman and that's pretty cool because it's not just a mini pump, it's actually like a mini track pump. It's got a little foot plate on it, so it's really easy for Tom to use on his own out on the trail. So everything here is considered to work for Tom. But let's actually chat to Tom about the specifics because there's some very cool stuff going on, especially up front. Okay, so I've got a main man, Tom here, and well, obviously your bike's very different and it's got a lot of things going on. I want to start by looking at that STG Fly downhill saddle. Yeah. So that's typically the sort of thing you see someone like Sam Hill ride to stop him slipping off the bike.
The use of my legs is massive. Not so much now I've got the extra support on my arm, but for climbing, holding my body position is really difficult. Yeah. So any kind of help there, it's really not comfortable. And if I haven't been on a bike for a couple of weeks, I know about it.
Yeah, but it's a purposeful saddle.
For function, it just, it really helps me.
Now, obviously, front end here. So first up, you're running everything on the left-hand side if you look at your controls. Yes. I also noticed that you're running a Shimano and a Magura brake. Yeah. And then you're running a right-hand grip shift on the left, flipped around. So just tell us about a theory about how some of this is working.
Sure, so when I first kind of got into putting my brakes over the top of each other, it was really difficult. We instantly realised that we needed to make some kind of bracket to help with this lower lever position. So this one actually allows to go up and down, and you can obviously rotate in and out as well. So
had you previously had them both on the bars?
No, I actually never ran it both on the bars, just because it was so, you were reaching so hard, and I've only got a little hand. So yeah, it was from the get-go we had a drop system going on. And yeah, like just making it as slimline as possible, because obviously I've got a heck of a lot going on there. I almost ran out of bar, and I don't like running my bars particularly wide, so that does get interesting. People probably wonder why I don't run the same brakes. It just goes back. I've always liked to run a 4-pot on the front, and I really like the feel of Shimano on the back. I like the way it just locks and I don't have to worry. But for the front, the flatter blade of the Magura and just the general feel of it, it's completely different to the Shimano in my eyes, and that really helps with, I think,
so you can identify the two brakes. I was going to say, because even however well you know the bike, there must be times where like
we were riding earlier, and I was like, I don't even think about braking, but these little things do help. I gotta say, I'm pretty chuffed with it. I would like to explore kind of electronics at some point. I think that might be the next route, just to get it even cleaner, but it's hard not to. I can buy that off the shelf, you know, and it's standard stuff, and I try and do that the best I can, just because it's hard enough with all the other things which are specialists, which I can't buy off the shelf. If I can, I will.
Okay, before we move on to your other setup, let's talk about this headset. I've not actually seen this before. I've seen various steering dampers. And that's got that kind of feel.
So I used to use what was called the Hopi steering damper. Awesome bit of kit. Bit of a pain to fit, and you can't run a normal star nut, and it just, I like bikes. I go between bikes, so if I want to try anything, I have to think about all this other stuff. The whole intention of it, I think, is for city bikes. When I watched the video, it's to help stabilize. Yeah, exactly. I thought I got to give that a go, and it's somewhere in between not having one and having the full Hopi steering damper. And it definitely helps with picking lines, and just overall, when it does get a bit out of hand, it just balances things for me.
Yeah. Okay, and obviously over to the right-hand side, which is very different to anyone else's bike on Earth.
Super different, really. Right? So the initial, when we did the arm brace and when we first kind of set up for two-handed riding with a paralysed arm, the very first time out, I literally put Velcro on a handlebar and strapped my hand straight up. I was like, I got an arm brace, put my arm on, felt kind of okay, let's go. Bad idea. Got to the bottom and took my glove off, and it was just blood. And I couldn't.
Oh, so you made your hand raw,
and people would warn me you can't feel it and all this, and I couldn't, and I just completely ripped it apart.
Wow. Okay.
So straight away I was like, we can't be doing that, because you can't be doing that every ride. So the first tray was actually at the time I was wearing what we call a night resting splint, and it's to help kind of keep your fingers supple. We did that, and I was like, this is really good. This puts my hand in a really good position. I was like, I need them to make one of these round an ODI lock-on grip. Literally. So I just went into the hospital one day and was like, Mandy, I gotta mention Mandy, she's fantastic. I said, don't tell anyone, but can you put one around that? She said, yeah, all right then. And then that just evolved, and we ended up actually making one to match my bike in blue, and she was super helpful, and it really helped kind of the next bit where we're at now with the 3D printing side of it. And that's what you see, 3D printed tray, I call them. Yep. It's my interface with the bike. It connects to the arm brace. And then it's got some really, I guess, clever stuff going on underneath, which allows me to get away from the bike if I was to crash. And that's done by the pin.
So you've got a quick release on this end that's connected to your
wrist. Yeah, and then if I go down, more often than not, you put your hand out, don't you?
Yeah.
And let's be honest, if you're having that kind of accident, you want both arms to be coming off. And yeah, it opens it up and releases it. And then there's other little bits on it as well, like I picked up over the years that the angle of which the tray comes out It's really key to having an aggressive riding style, especially when you're riding technical stuff. Yeah, get the elbow up into an actual good position. The first ones didn't have any stop, so it just rotated and it could keep going. And if I got bucked, I'd actually go over the handlebars, because once the paralysed arm got past a certain point, I couldn't recover. So what we actually do is we built in a stop, so that's an actual physical stop, so my arm won't go past that point.
So I also noticed Mondrakers are quite famous for their forward geometry, having that short front end, but you're running quite a high bar on here, and also with the fork bumped up in travel. So is that also to assist?
So it's something when I started riding steeper stuff, I felt that I was almost getting sucked into the front a lot, and I didn't feel comfortable with being like over the front as much as I used to be. So I thought, well, let's raise it and set myself a little bit further back, and all these things help. So the longer fork, and like I run it, you can see that I'm getting like 165, 170 of travel out of a 180. So I've got all that travel there, but I actually set it up with
more to give you a height.
More to give me a height, just so when I am having those big compressions, I'm not being sucked to a point where I can't recover from.
Yeah.
Because that is one thing, the arm is assisted in coming back, but if you weight it, it won't force itself back. The best way to achieve this is to raise the front, and it makes it quite playful. It makes the front end quite light, so it can be a little bit twitchy, but at the same time, dare I say it, since going to this setup, I haven't had an out the front door situation.
So tell me this as well, I noticed that you've got the Grip 2 damper. Yeah,
so it's one of the perks of working at Fox. We're always trying stuff out, trying to get the breakaway force for small bump. Those forks are apart a lot, so it's a shock, because we can, and that's what we love doing. So I've got the Grip 2 in there. I'm running it actually, so the manual's pretty spot on, but for mine, I like it that little bit more supple, because as you know, I'm weighting back. I'm not actually over the front.
Yeah, you need more grip.
So yeah, I'd say I would be softer and faster than average, is the best way of putting it. We're talking like about 4 clicks out from fully fast. So it is pretty quick, to be honest, and the same with the compression. I run a really low pressure in the front. I'm on like 55 PSI, which, when you see what I'm riding and how I'm hitting stuff, people are like, you need more. But But you're not using all that travel like you Exactly. Someone riding aggressively will push that front wheel to the limit of its grip, whereas I'm actually floating off the back, so I need it to be doing more for me, is the best way of saying it. And same with tyre pressures, like I'll go as low.
And obviously your front feels really
I can go as low as 23, even lower, depending, just because I am that light on the front end. But then I do like it ramping up. So like we were discussing, it's a 180 fork, but I only ever truly reach 165, 170 mil of travel. And that's because I think we've actually got 2.5 volume spaces in at the moment.
1.5?
Yeah.
Super custom.
Yeah.
Like it.
Anything to help me enjoy riding the bike that bit more, we do it.
You're working at the best place for that,
Yeah, I'm sure I do their heads in, because I can be a bit of a perfectionist when it comes to it. But yeah, it's all fun and games, and I think we all get a smile out of it when I get out on the trail and ride.
It's an awesome looking bike. Well, there we go. That's a bit of a unique pro bike check on this very special Mondraker Foxy RRSL. It belongs to Mr. Tom Wheeler.
And if you want to see me ride it, click the link just down there.
As always, don't forget to give us a huge thumbs up here at GMBN Tech, especially if you like this rad bike. Click subscribe and share around.